Good morning. This is Shruti Gupta from NBQP QCI. Welcomes you all for today's webinar, Approach to Safely Relaunching the Operations from Returning to Normalcy. As the businesses are resuming operations in the general office setting, it becomes very important to bring specific standards, protocols to ensure that they are able to operate safely in these unprecedented times, both with respect to the operation of offices and the operation of manufacturing units. In line with this objective, QCI, along with industry stakeholders, has also developed a harmonized standard workplace assessment for safety and hygiene, WASH, to help the organizations assess their preparedness to restart and run their operations safely. This is intended to enable an organization to provide a safe and healthy workplace, prevent work-related ill health, and continually improve its COVID-19 prevention and mitigation protocol. We have Dr. Raj with us to enlighten us on the WASH scheme launched by QCI. We also have with us our esteemed speakers for today's Mr. Pankaj from Honda Motorcycle and Scooter India and Mr. Dipendra Parekh from Timken India, who will share with us today the best practices that their units have adopted, including the protocols and guidelines, which are consistent with the applicable requirements as well. They have determined while resuming their manufacturing operations. So starting off, I would like to welcome our first speaker from QCI, Dr. Raj. He has a professional experience of around 27 years and is currently working as a senior director and is heading Z division of QCI. The Z division has implemented the Zero Defect and Zero Effect scheme and is also currently implementing the WASH scheme, that is Workplace Assessment for Safety and Hygiene. Dr. Raj is also a voracious trainer and has been intensely involved in training and development activities of QCI. He has represented QCI at several distinguished national and international platforms and has presented papers at various prestigious forums as well. He has been instrumental in establishing various benefits for Z-rated industry units through sustainable engagement of state governments, RBI, and financial institutions, government e-marketplaces, etc. So over to you, sir. You can start with your session, please.
Thank you so much, Shruti. I welcome everyone once again, and I welcome Mr. Parekh, Dr. Parekh, and Mr. Tandon also. We are thankful that you could take out time and enlighten the audiences in these troubled times, especially how to move forward in starting and running operations in the wake of the pandemic. So thank you once again, Shruti. Welcome once again, everyone. My name is Raj, and I will very quickly be talking about an initiative by Quality Council of India, which is, as on your screen you can see, it is called WASH. The acronym stands for Workplace Assessment for Safety and Hygiene. The prime objective of this particular scheme is to assist in preparedness of any workplace in opening post-COVID. So why was there a need for such kind of a model? We thought that it was required that a structured approach by any organization needs to be there. Any kind of bit and pieces approach, we tend to make mistake. So a structured approach, a structured framework under which we, as an organization, I can move on with my business and ensure business continuity and mitigate risk. Hence, there was a need to ensure that the compliances by the government are also met. So this model will tell me that I must ensure that the compliances are met by various authorities. It may be Ministry of Home Affairs, it may be Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, it may be some guidelines issued by ICMR, or it may also be some state government notifications which may be coming from time to time. So it's very important to follow those guidelines. One of the main the need that was developed for to ensure the safeguarding of all stakeholders involved in any kind of business. There may be internal employees, there may be the guests, there may be clients, there may be the supply chain, any outsourced vendor. Everyone's safeguarding, it becomes my responsibility as a business. And then in the end, there was a need to ensure business continuity also. So with these 3 points, the scheme was created to assess any organization in their preparedness to restart operations. So very quickly, the objective, once again, as we had talked about the need, they are aligned with the objective. And however, the applicability here needs to be very clear. The applicability is to any organization. WASH is a generic scheme, a generic standard, which is applicable to any workplace, may it be manufacturing, service, it may be a school, it may be a hospital, it may be a hotel, it may be any factory. So this generic model is applicable everywhere. Assessment can be conducted at any juncture of operation. It can be done before you restart, or it can be done while you are already on after you restarted after COVID. So it can be done at any time to assess your own preparedness. However, there are a few exclusions. This model does not venture into those areas which require expert medical advice. Neither does this model replace any statutory compliance or any other requirement related to environment or quality. This is very specific to post-COVID safe opening operations. The outcome of this particular model is an assessment report. This report will identify where are the areas of improvement so that me as an organization would be able to find the gaps and address them. And it will also tell me what are the good points that I'm in my business which I need to continue further and sustain. So the outcome is an assessment report by the assessment agency, a detailed report with opportunities of improvement mentioned there. So what exactly is the WASH standard? Now, WASH standard is no rocket science, to be honest. It is plain and simple common sense. It has 15 elements under which the requirements are given. The elements may have sub-elements and the requirements may be essential or desirable. Most of the requirements under the WASH model are essential. However, there are a few desirable requirements. For example, a foot bath, which may be a desirable requirement under hygiene and safety element. So WASH has 15 elements and it has sub-elements, and the sub-elements have requirements which may be essential or desirable. The 15 key elements are these right on your screen. This model urges the management's commitment to be there regarding post-COVID operations. It also urges the organization to follow all regulatory requirement, download at a time, involve, make one person as a single point of contact, make quick response teams. It talks about business continuity. It talks about identifying what all risks can be there while opening and to address them. It talks about preventive measures. It talks about having the right equipment in place, the right amount of preventive protective personal protective equipment. It talks about it also talks about waste management as to how exactly you need to have your processes to ensure that the PPEs are going into the right place and not just discarded like any other waste. It also talks about what kind of ventilation your organization or your office, your workplace needs to have. It talks about what kind of communication between you and your employee, between you and your stakeholders, between you and any other person who is linked in any way to your organization. What kind of communication you need to have? What do you need to communicate? How you must have a process of having regular communication. So this is what it talks about. And then there are 15, and then the last one, the control of discriminatory practices. So it also talks about that you should be wary, you should be careful that there should not be any discriminatory practices evolving out of when you're opening. For example, you should ensure that a mask should be given to every person, irrespective of where they come from, irrespective of their background. Or you should also be wary that you're in case there's a contractual worker and the person is coming out of a contained zone, which was earlier a contained zone, and you're saying, no, I'm scared and I will not give you your dehadi, your daily wage, you stay at home. So these kind of practices should be controlled in your organization. It also talks about transport, documentation. It talks about how to manage your supply chain under COVID, how you need to convey to them. It talks about, and the most important as key element is hygiene and safety, which is the largest key element with 15 requirements in it. So, and it is all about social distancing. It is all about screening protocols. So these 15 key elements are important part of are actually forming the standard on which the organization must follow. Once they follow it to the hilt, there is a possibility of mitigating risk arising out of COVID. There is a possibility that you continue with your business. There is no hindrance. You maintain business continuity and also ensure safety of people around you. And so this is in a gist. I need about 4 hours to explain the key element here. I cannot. There's a lot about traceability. There's a lot about transportation. How you need to train and make people aware. What kind of signages you need to have. Everything is there in this model. So these are the 15 key elements for your basic knowledge. And on your screen is the basic how an organization would register and get themselves assessed. Now, it is not mandatory that you have to follow and get the assessment done. QCI's intent is that we have come out with this standard, which is created by a technical committee comprising of industry experts, comprising of accreditation bodies, comprising of NABH representative, NABL representative, NABET representative. A lot of experts have got together, the Z team, everyone got together and made this model. For the benefit of the industry, you can just take the model. It is there on the website. Everything is there on the website. The model, the checklist, the standard, the formats, everything is open. You can just download and do it yourself. Our aim is you to understand that this is needed. You don't need to pay anyone, just do it yourself. However, if you feel that you need external help, then QCI has trained 34 assessment agencies who can help you in conducting an assessment at a very small fee. And the list of agencies is also there on the website. You can have a look on that. It may be noted that this is not a certification. This is an assessment. Hence, there is no validity because the assessment is done on a specific day. However, this is a continuous process. So hence it cannot be having surveillance, etc., by the third party. That needs to be done by you as an organization. You need to follow all the protocols mentioned in it, and the outcome is an assessment report which highlights what kind of improvement is required. You fulfill those, and it's up to you. You can assess yourself again and again and again, or call somebody from outside and do it. Normally, for a workplace, it takes about 1 man day, but in case the organization is big, it might take 2 because the assessment doesn't happen of every nook and corner. You don't go every chair ke niche check kar rahe hain, or it is not. It is to check whether you are prepared, whether you have the right systems and processes in place, and a few interviews, etc., are done in the assessment, and they check a few randomly. They check a few places. So not beyond 2 man days is what is it. This is how the self-assessment checklist looks like. As you can see on your screen, it talks about the requirement, the category of essential, desired, and then there is a guidance given against each requirement. The guidance is for you as the organization, for me as an assessor. And in the assessment and in the self-assessment, you can always check whether you are doing it yourself or not. Hence, you can yourself find out whether I am complying with this requirement and then fulfill the gaps bridge the gaps wherever there are. So this is how the standard report looks like with the screen, and with the certificate of assessment which comes in, which looks like this. I will end it here. I might have exceeded my time. My apologies for that. So this is about the WASH standard of QCI. I wish all the audiences here, every listener, that you safe, and you can even go through this the WASH model and try and practice a few of these things at your home also. It will help. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Shruti. Thank you, Priyanka. And thank you, other esteemed panelists.
Thank you, Dr. Raj, for briefing us about WASH scheme. Now, I would like to welcome our next speaker from Honda Motorcycle and Scooter India, Mr. Pankaj Tandon. From past 20 years, Mr. Tandon has worked in various automotive processes like machining, die casting, plant maintenance, and new technology introduction. He has joined Honda Motorcycle and Scooter India in year 2001. And since then, he has worked in different areas at different capacities. Played key role in HMSI in reducing the utility costs through reduction in transmission losses, like power changeover, installation of solar power plant as a renewable energy, geothermal air conditioning system, waste heat recoveries from flue gases, etc. Mr. Pankaj is presently working as a divisional head for production powertrain with main responsibility for introducing BS6 engine technology and for smooth startup production post COVID-19. So over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I think I am audible, and
Yes,
thanks,
you are.
Dr. Raj. I think I'm impressed the way QCI has thought about all this topic, and I presume that in my presentation you will find the actual execution of your standard, and it will more correlate with your standard. So I will be explaining the journey which was there in HMSI from the day of lockdown to the day we started producing first vehicle. So this will be my presentation content, and roughly 6 topics are there. I will try to wind up within 15 minutes. And first topic is that what is the agenda was that we wanted that there should not be any COVID-19 infection when we start in HMSI our operations, and our all associates should be safe. That was the first and foremost guideline from the top management. And also then were that when we restart the production, then we should not produce any defective products and supply to the market, and also meet all domestic and export requirements which are available right now in the market, and also smooth and safe production ramp up. So for doing this activity, we have made a detailed activity plan with all the senior members within HMSI, and each area, whether it was implementation of COVID-19 measures, whether quality assurance activities or equipment preparation and maintenance activities or safety declaration activity across the plant. So a lot of people were involved into that. So this was our detailed organization. So top management were more into the direction, and then reviewing the status of all these activities. And then middle management was more into planning, rule setting, implementation impacts, and also sample setting and daily planning, doing checking and acting on the shortcomings. And then was the shop floor team. So first of all, I would like to explain that how we started planning for the initial production. So we take into considerations our sales planning team's requirements, and then there were a lot of guidelines from government about the manpower movement, that how manpower is available in green, orange, and red zones in the beginning of this lockdown opening, and then distance-wise manpower availability and state-wise, and when manpower will come, then they will be quarantined for 14 days, all these considerations. And also there were other guidelines from the government regarding to the social distancing, which has a very big impact on our capacities. And but ultimately bottom line was that ensuring no infection spread inside the plant. So manpower was a big challenge. We found that especially after the second lockdown, complete manpower went back to the homes, all levels, and people were afraid of coming back to especially urban populated areas. And we were facing challenge that as soon as we will start the operation, so welding is the area and painting where we need high skilled manpower. So how to arrange that? So we initiated a lot of activities for manpower control, like daily, weekly basis. We keep a track of all our manpower, not only inside HMSI but at our suppliers as well. And also we provided financial support to the suppliers, very small suppliers who cannot continue their business without the support of HMSI. And as soon as the government relaxed their norms, we started calling back the people, and with all precautions and all quarantine and everything. And with this help, we were basically continuously making a track of manpower, that how much manpower area wise available with us. And I said earlier that with the social distancing norm of 1.8 meter, there was a lot of reduction in the overall capacities. So with all these manpower availability and reduction in production capacities, we given a lot of thought to the how we will meet our sales plan, and this was one of the examples. We got approval from the top management to meet our production plan. And next topic is our COVID-19 preparations. So COVID-19 preparation, we divided into basically 5 items. One was the social distancing, then is the hygiene, then sanitization, awareness, and surveillance and control. So starting from the social distancing, as Mr. Raj was also explaining, starting from the home, when people start coming to the office, so there was social distancing was planned in the buses and at the deboarding points, and then in the punching areas, and then entering to the plant, and also to the meeting area, to the rest area, to the offices, and to the training rooms, and also in the canteens, and also in the washrooms. So you can say this is one of the example of our shop floor, where earlier we were working at a distance of 1 meter. So new requirement was of 1.8 meter. So these requirements, this is an example of our frame assembly that we did marking well in advance of start of the production, and all the areas of production we maintained 1.8 meter distance with the, to maintain the social distancing norm. And this is the example slide is the example of running production, engine assembly, frame assembly, that with this 1.8 meter social distancing as well as partitions, acrylic partitions, our people are working safely. And also we have provided them the face mask and face shields and all kind of PPEs which are required for their personal hygiene. And main point in social distancing is we focused on contact tracing, whether on the sitting in the buses or in the rest areas or in the canteens or in the offices, or while using the common computer stations. And also HMSI has developed its own app. Whenever any person has to start from the home, he has to generate a green card based on his health, his family members' health, his COVID-19 situation of himself, a family member, and surrounding area, and also past travel history. And once green card is generated, then only he can come to the office. And this contact tracing and this particular declaration has helped HMSI in a bigger way to daily basis identifying the associates and isolating and quarantining those associates who are at risk. And till now, all the 4 plants, we are working safely with the help of this system. And coming to the hygiene part, so hygiene, we focused on all the areas of hygiene, whether it is personal, workplace hygiene, food and water hygiene, and also family hygiene of the associates, and also the clothing. So we have taken a lot of areas for this hygiene matter. So I will be explaining some, like we are providing 2 masks to each associate on weekly basis, which are washable masks, and every week we are basically giving them the new mask. And then dispensers for the sanitizers with the sanitizers are being installed in almost all the lines. You can say roughly for 15% one dispenser is there in the complete plant. And then important is the displays of awareness and display in the local areas where people are working. And because right now ramp up is going on, every day a lot of new line associates, new associates are joining. So basically informing them about the COVID-19 and educating about the hazard of COVID, this is very important item. So this has been created. And also things like that because machine panels are the items which everybody is touching again and again. So wrapping and cleaning at the end of each shift, this is one of the activity. And then safely placing the PPEs which they are using, so that they should not get infected. And also, Mr. Raj was focusing on safe disposal of PPs. So we, especially for the face mask, we have scissor cutting and then disposal bins and 1-point lesson and sanitizing arrangement. And we are ensuring that all the PPs are being disposed in very safe manner, and they are not without destruction. They are not going out of the company, and also they are going to the authorized basically disposal agencies of HMSI, so that they do not fall into the wrong hands of society. And also we are providing face shield to the operators at the shop floor. So if we see hygiene, key point is awareness on daily basis through local area management and also PA announcement, and importance of social distancing, maintaining hygiene, and where we fail usually teaching all the associated those kind of things. Then coming to sanitization, again we have started sanitization activity from while boarding the buses from home, then waiting area, workplaces. I will be explaining in brief. And when we initially started the plant, so before starting the plant, we did a massive sanitation activity both on the external areas and in the internal areas. And then on daily basis, our buses, two-wheelers, cars, mainly door handles, two-wheeler handles, armrests, and all doors which are there in the plant, washroom, all touch points, office desks, and rest areas, even our ATM machines inside the plant, all the quality equipments or those kind of thing, everything we are sanitizing on regular basis. And also, as I think Mr. Raj was also discussing this matter, that each plant has air conditioning system, and this is one of the major area of concern or spread of COVID infection. So centralized cooling systems has been stopped everywhere, and where it was necessary, we have introduced HEPA filtration system. And also ASHRAE guidelines regarding the environmental condition and air changes and all those kind of things we have implemented across the plant. And main focus is that fresh air change rate we have tried to increase across the plant, so that fresh air intake is there for the well-being of associate. And also we have basically detailed check sheets, where with the help of them on daily basis we are ensuring that all these sanitization activities are being done across all the factory very effectively. And then also some common guidelines, like this is guideline that when associate has to come from home, then when while boarding the bus, then hand sanitization and thermal scanning has to be done. Coming to the plant, social distancing has to be maintained. Then he has to get again thermal screening, as well as the HMSI declared green pass he has to show, and then only entry to the plant will be there. And if everything is okay, then he will be allowed to enter the plant. Else we have made the system that if there will be some issue related to the health of the person, then what action we will take immediately, and what kind of response will be there from HMSI side, so that already that procedure has been good. And also when our material and logistic vehicles are coming, so we have made the system. So basically for BOP vendor suppliers, what we have done, that sanitized vehicle will come from the supplier end, and he will sanitize loading cabin, driving cabin, and door handles and other touch point, whereas HMSI will do the sanitization of door handles and rear truck latches, etc., which are being the common touch points. Where in case of logistic vehicles, because these are coming from the remote locations, so complete sanitization of vehicle has been done by the HMSI, including driver cabins, loading cabins, and all the touch points. And also because canteen is the main one of the critical area in this COVID-19 time, so we have made various procedures, and everything is being handled with the help of this procedure, and ensure the safety and hygiene of the food which is being produced in the canteen. And then come the awareness. Awareness is a very important area for us, for our associates. So how to use the mask and other kind of things, and in case of emergencies, contact numbers. So these kind of leaflets we have provided to our associates, and also we are reading out that what is written inside these leaflets, and also trainings on hand hygiene, how to clean the hands, and also training on how to dispose your PPs, and a lot of other topics related to the man movement, trolley usages, safe storage of PPs. So all these kind of training module in detail, and also this is available in local languages across all the plants. And then comes to the surveillance and control. Finally, when our preparation was complete, then we made a very big committee who is day in day out working on daily monitoring of COVID situation inside the plant and surrounding, and takes daily shop floor multi visits and correct the violations, and also respond to the all changing scenarios in this COVID-19 time. And then next topic is because after the lockdown, it was roughly 2.5 months. So after very long lockdown, we were starting the plants. So we identified that safety of complete system is very important thing. So we bifurcated all the safety activities into three. First was equipment, process, and operation safety. Then our emergency response system safety, and safety awareness of all the associates. Coming to the equipment safety, before switching on all the systems, we had a check sheet, and as well as after the switch on, we had a check sheet. And we formed joint committees where maintenance, production, and safety, all these three areas, persons were involved, and they did all these check jointly. And before starting the mass production, very exhaustive work was done to check in detail each and every item related to the safety of equipments. And this is again then area wise also we have prepared comprehensive check sheets, and all those check sheets were later on reviewed by our top management, that everywhere the safety activities has been done in detail. And then coming to our inside plant, we have various emergency response system like CO2 flooding system, water sprinkling system, and fire extinguishers and hydrants. So all these systems we checked one by one, joint by joint, that everything is working fine before opening the plant. And this was also done collectively by production, maintenance, and safety teams. And then come to safety and training, because a lot of associates were joining on daily basis. So we made basically three committees on this. One plant safety committee was there, then department safety committees, and area specific safety committees. So three trainings to each associate with the help of these committees in subsequent and continuation in 3 days was provided. And we have our detailed safety trainings and area wise safety training. So those trainings were provided to each and every associate. Then coming to the quality guarantee, because we were again suddenly plants were stopped. So safety quality guarantee was is very important from HMSI point of view. So we started this quality activity. So initially we did the situation analysis, and we found certain issues like skilled manpower was gone, and long storage of finished goods were there, and machine and equipments were idle for a long time. And so to cope up all this, we made action plan, and with the detailed action plan both for in-house and for our suppliers, we made quality guarantee plan. And pre-preparation planning was there, and then mass production stocks which were lying on the shop floor, that planning, that verification was there, and also supplier processes and in-house processes checks were there. So all these activity we done in very detail. And these are some of the glimpses of check sheet we designed, like for in-house and BOP quality processes, CP, CPK, and quality parameters on 4M basis. Then manpower skill evaluations and equipment checks at the supplier end, and finished and WIP and raw material goods inspection at within HMSI as well as at supplier ends. So all these things were followed. Also, contamination is very important, especially for our engine. So we did a lot of activities just before the backdown and during the lockdown. And also after the lockdown, detailed check that whether our parts and material which we are going to produce vehicles with the help of these vehicle parts. So these are not contaminated. So all these things were checked in detail. And also because a lot of vehicles were there as finished good. So before supplying these vehicles to the market, we made a very detailed accelerated inspection plan within the HMSI so that we supply product of highest quality to the market. And also then finally all this preparation which I have explained, whether it is related to COVID-19, whether it is related to the safety of equipments and complete plant and trainings, and also our supplier as well as in-house quality. This was evaluated by our top management, and across all the factories same standard of evaluation was there, so that there should not be any variance. And also further, right now, a lot of cost reduction activities we are doing. So this is one of the metrics which shows that as soon as production goes down, so variable factor cost 100% straightaway reduces. And also we are working that all the investments which has ROI as per the current production volumes more than 30 months has been deferred. And also rebudgeting of items, means zero-based budget planning has been started. And a lot of optimization of management work is also being considered. And things like equipment running and shift pattern optimization, all these activities for cost reductions are going on. So that's all from my side. So this is how HMSI has done the preparation in these COVID-19 times, and we are able to roughly touch our 45% production volume as on date, and safely we are operating all the 4 plants, and none of the major concern has been found related to the spreading of infection of COVID-19 inside the factories. And with the continuous doing the surveillance of and daily reviewing the COVID-19 situation, we are safe till now. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Pankaj, for sharing the best practices adopted at your plant. Our next speaker is from Timken India, Mr. Dipendra Parekh. Mr. Dipendra is currently working as a General Manager Plant Operations, Timken Bharuch, and is also a part of Timken India leadership team. He has around 25 years of experience in areas covering operations, plant management, supply chain, quality business excellence, supplier management, program management, and product development. Mr. Dipendra holds a strong and diversified experience of working with companies like Wistron, Ashok Leyland, and Ericsson as a part of his career. He is a certified Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt and is also a qualified TPM trainer and practitioner. Over to you, sir.
So you need to unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So good afternoon, and thank you so much for giving this opportunity for coming on this platform and sharing. So I would like to start from where Mr. Pankaj has left. So Mr. Pankaj has talked about quite a bit in detail in terms of ensuring the guidelines and the compliance part of it for starting the business safely. So just to comprehend, what Mr. Pankaj has said, I got a very small video which I would like to show across. Before I start getting into a detailed presentation, it is just a small video which indicates that the kind of preparedness what we follow at Timken. It's just a small segment of that video which talks about how do we ensure entrance of our employees in the plant. So just to take you through that, it'll just take not more than a minute or so. So you can see that's how the guy gets in. There's a security check of temperature. He goes through a booth where he has to show his ID card. The card records the name. He has to show the authorization letter issued by the company while coming to the work. The guy is showing the Arogya Setu app, which is mandated by MHA. He gets into the booth just to sanitize. The guy is filling a self-declaration form indicating that where he has been in the last 14 days. There you have a hand washing station, which has been created for everybody before they enter into the plant. The guy moves out and he is entering into the production area. He punches his card. So no biometric, it is just Wi-Fi scanning. And there you see he's just doing a sanitization using a hand-free sanitizer. And then it goes on the work. So it's just a small video just to show across that kind of controls. It's just on one part of it, ensuring employee entrance. And there are many videos which I can talk about it, which I think same thing Pankaj has also touched upon in terms of ensuring discipline and the kind of stuff at the shop floor. Now I'll be focusing more on my presentation in terms of in these tough times, right? What needs to be driven or what needs to be done to ensure that we leverage these tough times to come out of this crisis situation and leverage them to the benefit of the organization and ensure that we keep committed towards factors like quality, cost, customer service, delivery efficiency, and other kind of stuff. So briefly, I'll be talking about these 5-6 topics, just to give you a quick glance about Timken, what Timken is, how to drive excellence in the current situation, how to build up a culture in those tough times, which can drive controls, which can drive excellence, and which can help us to take a leap jump when the situation of normalcy come across. Yes, these are tough times. So why, what, and how we can handle these tough situations, how we can leverage this tough time to solve problems, what are the model for success to drive efficiency in those tough times, and then maybe 4 pillars of excellence. So just to give you a quick glance about Timken. Timken is a 120 years old company founded in 1899 by Mr. Timken. He was German, moved to US, and taper roller bearing are patented by Timken. It's listed in NYSE since 1922, and headquarters are in Canton, Ohio, with a sales of about $3.2 billion in 2019, and globally we got about 70,000 plus employees in 28 countries. So we started with supplying with axles for the horse carriages, and then it went on to automotives, and then maybe just to give you kind of brand recognition, the satellite which goes to Mars, it has a Timken bearing onto it. High-speed trains, it has got a Timken bearing onto it. Heavy trucks, it has got a Timken bearing onto it. Steel mills, we have a Timken bearing onto it. Dentist, the root canal treatment drill, it has got a Timken bearing onto it. And maybe a windmill, it's got a Timken bearing onto it. So just to give you a glimpse that how we are situated, how we are diversified in terms of our product portfolio. I'll just skip that slide. So these are our acquisitions which we have done over the past 10, 20 years, 10, 15 years, just to diversify our portfolio from being a bearing company to a power transmission solution company. And these are our core values in which we strongly believe in, which includes ethics and integrity, quality, teamwork, and excellence. And these core values are very, very important when you are trying to drive the business, including in these tough times. So with this, I'll start my the main agenda. So in these tough times, when you're driving your business, it is most important that we should drive it with excellence. Now, what does excellence actually means? So excellence is basically the outstanding practices in managing an organization and achieving results. And they're all based on set of fundamental concepts of values. So it's very, very important that we should have a fundamental concepts and set of values. And based on that, we should drive outstanding practices. Some of them has been shown by Pankaj. Some of them you will find in lot many other areas. Some of them you can find with the customers. Some of them you can find with the competition. So just to pick them, what are the best practice, outstanding practices, and deploying them. Again, not deploying them in isolation, deploying them in totality. So that is what the message of excellence is. So I'll again repeat, it's outstanding practices based on set of fundamental concepts and values. Now, just to start, I'll give you a small story about an elephant and 5 blind people. I think most of you have heard about that story. So there you see 5 blind people, and they've been touching an elephant. So the guy who's touching the tail, he says, no, it's a rope. The guy who's touching the ear says, no, it's a fan. The guy who's touching the feet, saying it's a pillar. The guy who's touching the trunk, it says it's a python. And the guy who's touching the stomach, saying it's a drum. The same thing happens. Somebody say do 5S, you will drive excellence. Somebody will say, okay, do TPM, you will drive excellence. Somebody will say drive lean, you will drive excellence. Somebody will say do 6 Sigma, you will drive excellence. No, they're all tools. Excellence is the process to drive, not a tool to deploy. So we have to think as an organization that what get best fitted to our need, and then take it across accordingly in these tough times to drive the business in the most efficient manner. Now, most important part at this point of time is, we all are leaders, and we all are leaders in our own business. So these tough times calls for a lot of reflections from a leadership point of view. So this small thing which we say is called as Sudoku's pyramid. It starts with the leadership thinking and behavior point of view, supported by management systems, supported by processes, and then practiced by tools and techniques. So typically what happens is we all start focusing on tools and techniques, which is the bottommost part of it, logically, if you look into. We don't start from the leadership thinking and behavior point of view, because the thinking and behavior what we have in these tough times, they will help us in terms of developing a strong management system, building up strong processes, and then executing those processes with proper tools and techniques. So typically we start doing our processes from here, not from here. So the point what I'm trying to make across is change the rationale. Start thinking from the leadership thinking and behavior point of view, because the whole business will get driven out of it, not from the top. Just to come to this slide, maybe I'll just say the culture, if you're talking of, which is very, very important this tough time, because culture will drive discipline, and culture will drive us to help that we come out of this crisis times in a very, very successful manner. So values, hello. So values, which I said are fundamental to any organization. From values, we drive our beliefs. From beliefs, we drive our thoughts. From thoughts, we drive our actions. The actions drive our habits. Habits become our character, and character becomes our destiny. So in this tough time, and I'm sure that all of you would have been struggling across in terms of social distancing. We all say it is pretty good to follow. Government is pushing us very, very hard. Follow social distancing. Still, when you're walking across in the shop, you'll find a lot many cases where you'll find that social distancing norms are getting breached. They've been pushing hard, saying that wear mask, it is for your own safety. But still, if you walk across the shop floor, you will find that, okay, I'll say about 20% of the cases, you will find that people are not wearing the mask, or maybe they're wearing the mask not in the right way. How to change that? They will all come from how do we start thinking from a leadership point of view. So for leaders, if this is acceptable, then what will happen is for the people down the line, the acceptable limit is much more. So in this tough situation, we should work in a manner as leaders to show that we got a zero tolerance on such issues. Coming to the next slide, tough times for COVID-19. So let's assume that why this tough time? It is a tough time and let's accept it, because if you think that it's going to go over, let's say by September, October, or December, no, it's going to remain with us for now a significant amount of time till the time we don't develop a proper treatment, or maybe a proper vaccine, or maybe a proper medicine for it. So it's going to remain. Now the situations in which currently we are in, and the kind of controls what we have put across in the just maybe 2 months, like 20th April onward, where the lockdown starts opening up. So this is becoming a new normal. Now people have been habitual of working in a specific way, let's say for more than about 25, 30 years. Say till the time your company is into existence. Now telling them to adopt a new normal situation within a span of less months, it's a big challenge. But it is important that the new normal situations, social distancing, masks, sanitization, following the guidelines, cleaning the machines, doing the machine sanitization clearly, not eating together, not assembling together, talking in a different way, group meetings all together into a different way, they all are new normal, and they take a hell lot of efforts from all of us as leaders to instill it as a discipline. Third point, why it is challenging is the guidelines are ever changing. The regulations are ever changing. Since 20th April onwards, when the lockdown started opening up, we have seen at least 7 to 8 guidelines coming from MHA, all together with the different sets of, or maybe with additions in terms of new requirement which is being put up. So very, very important that we should be able to adapt that and incorporate that in our processes. As Pankaj told that fear factor, right? People are afraid in terms of coming to the work in this crisis situation. So fear factor will remain. So we as a leader, how do we demonstrate to the people saying that, no, there is nothing to worry. The Cognizant has got strong systems put up in place. So don't worry at the workplace, we assure your safety. Come down, we'll take care of you. Very, very important. Then unwavering customer demands. Now the customers are also opening up. We are also opening up as an organization. Demand situation is pretty fluctuating. Nobody's operating at 100% capacity. And the kind of modeling on which we were running earlier, this modeling nowhere, is getting prevailed as of now. Just take an example, as Pankaj said that we are working at 45% capacity. Even at Timken, we are working at close to about maybe 35-40% of the capacity. Same way our customers, some of the customers are working at a capacity, let's say maybe about 15 to 20%. So the customer demands will keep on changing in such situations. So how do we cope up? What are the different ways to think in such situations so that you can meet customer demands and customer situations? And then also ensure business criticality remains. Now, just to give an example, how it is important in terms of business criticality. Like most of you would have been certified to OSAS, or maybe let's say ISO 45000, which is the occupational health and safety standard. Now, how many of us have really incorporated those COVID-19 guidelines in our occupational health and safety standard? Till the time we don't incorporate that, they don't become a practice. And that again will all come from how do we think as a leadership point of view. Lockdown versus plant asset condition. Now, after getting the plant closed for, let's say, maybe more than about 2 months, the moment you open up the plant, right, machines, when they're running in a normal situation, they behave in a different way. And when you're operating it, maybe after 2 months, they run all together into a different way. So how to ascertain those asset conditions? How to put up a plan in terms of addressing it? How to put up a plan saying that even in that scenario, I give a quality which is flawless to my customer. Supply chain. Now they are being disrupted into a big, big way. Most of the MSMEs have got a supply chain. The vendors are even also MSMEs, or maybe I'll say small enterprises. So in this tough situation, when the migrant workers have already moved, or they've got a crisis of the manpower, or maybe they've got a crisis of cash flow. How do we support them? Very, very important. And same thing comes to distribution channel. Now, take an example from a distribution channel point of view. How do you give a confidence to the customer that the product which you're supplying, to them from our distribution channels will not cause any threat to them for COVID-19 point of view? What processes, what systems you have put up in place in terms of addressing it? These are the challenges. Now, what can be done in those challenges? So I'll say the first is think out of the box. Just to give an example, as Pankaj said that we have made it mandatory, even we also made it mandatory that masks will be given to everyone. Now, at the company, we can ensure that. But the guy goes out of the company after 8 hours. How does he act in the society? Whom all he meets? How we are ensuring that the risk, what he is, experiencing in those 16 hours, doesn't come back to the plant? How do we ensure that while he is going out and while he's interacting into his personal life, he is putting up a mask? Just to give a small example, we came up with a small idea saying that, okay, those guys who can send us pictures of their families wearing homemade designer masks, the top 5 pictures will be awarded. Just to ensure that even outside the plant, they follow such practices, because it will take time in coming such things into a practice situation. Second is avoid Cobra effect. Now, Cobra effect is what? Let me just give an example. Cobra effect is nothing but creating a solution of a problem which ultimately, give you a return in short term, but in the long run, you will not get anything out of it. And just a small story. In British colonial times, Delhi was suffering quite significantly in terms of attacks of cobras. So government come with a philosophy or maybe a policy saying that you kill one cobra and we'll give you 1 silver coin. So the cobra bite instance dropped significantly. But after that, it again started, increasing. Why? Because there were some snake charmers who started breeding cobras. And one government said, okay, we are, we are just getting away with this policy. So no more reward when you kill a cobra. So again, the situation was again back to the same thing. The deaths increase the same way. So you put up a solution which is short term in nature. You get some gains, but in the long run, if you look into, you're getting nothing out of it. So in those tough times, think for solutions which gives you a results in a long term perspective. And the most important way to do it is this: break complexity into simplicity. Break complex issues into simple, manageable issues, and I'm sure you'll be able to come out with solutions which are long-term and sustaining in nature. In those tough times, what needs to be done? Engagement, engagement, and engagement is the key. Communication is the key. Be transparent, communicate, and then the communication has not to be done in a normal manner the way we used to do. Now the time have gone where we can have a meeting with about maybe 15 people into a closed room. Not possible. So we need to work out with some other alternate things that how do we communicate with our groups, how do we communicate with our operating groups, how do we communicate with our managers group, and how do we communicate with our executives. So come across with a plan, come across with your methodology, how you're going to communicate with them. This is the best time to bring in flexibility. It's the best time to bring in flexibility in terms of manning, modeling, supply chains, and value chains. In a full business mode, it is very difficult to bring that flexibility in. But these are the best time to bring that flexibility into that system and making it scalable. So the point is, this is the time to set up the right things. If we can't do it now, probably when the business comes up with the normalcy, again, we'll again go into the rat race and we'll not be able to do anything more onto that. We'll again go to the same kind of loop. So do it right now. It is the best time to think. It is the best time to do things which can help the business to become scalable over a long period of time. Get ready. When the normalcy resumes, get ready for a leap jump. When we do all these things, I'm sure we are all ready to take a jump much ahead than our competition when the normalcy situation resumes. And then, as I said, as the leaders, have an approach to have zero tolerance on current conditions. For us, if not wearing a mask, or if for us wearing a mask in an improper way is acceptable, then at our people level, at the shop floor level, you can imagine what kind of level they will have in terms of acceptance to these kind of situations. So have an approach of zero tolerances. How we can do that? The best way is reflection of leadership. So typically there is a quote of Shingo where he says that shop floor is the reflection of leadership. And leadership is all about driving the behavior, driving zero tolerances on current conditions. So reflect this. Focus on value streams linked to Hoshin plans. Have your strategy in place, works on value stream by value stream and try to drive improvements. It is the best time when you are not operating to full efficiency. You can use different methodologies like online coaching or maybe coaching through webinars or maybe coaching through WebEx, team meetings, and so on and so forth to teach the team in terms of how to approach and how to solve problems. Engage the teams. Engage them from short-term point of view, engage them from a long-term point of view. Whereas long-term point of view means define your strategic projects and put your teams onto work right now onto that. Revisit the supply chain. Just remember, 70% of value, it comes from supply chain. So it's the best time to look into who are my best partners as of now, who are scalable, who are reliable, with whom I can go a long way. Best time to think onto that. Focus on yields. What I'm saying, yields, not in the product, yields in the value chain. Just take an example. Just to make a bearing which we are in, how much time or maybe how much value it goes as a waste. Take an example, if I take 1 kg of steel and if I make one bearing out of it, we end up in scrapping close to about 50% of it. So what can be done? It is the best time to start thinking from that point of view so that we could leverage it in terms of cost, in terms of customer benefits, and in terms of avoiding a national waste. It is the best time to identify key talents, nurture them, develop them for growth, and develop communication channels. So these are the things which I feel that they are very, very important in those tough times to think, to drive, and to execute so that when the situation of normalcy comes in, we are there in terms of driving the business and taking it to a leap jump kind of view. The culture drives problem solving. Now, very interesting thing, when you talk to your people and you say, do you have any problem? And I'm sure 90% of them will say, no, sir, I don't have any issue. I don't have any problem. So if somebody says, I don't have any problem, probably the guy is not, trained enough to identify what are his problems. So Taichi Ono says that no one has got more troubles than the person who claims to have said that I've got no problem. So teach your people to find out how to see a problem and then work on how to solve it. So just to take on the lighter side of it, I'll just maybe click on that chart, but don't use it. It is just on the lighter side of it. So it's simple flowchart to solve problems. So if things are working well, don't touch it. So there is no problem. So if they're not working well, have you touched it? Yes. You are gone. Does somebody else knows? If nobody knows, hide it. There is no problem. If somebody knows, then you're lost. You haven't touched it, but then you're going to get the blame. If no, then show that you're not even aware of it. You haven't seen it. So then there is no problem. But if it's going to explode in your hands, then again you're lost. So if you're lost, can you blame someone else? No, then again you are lost. And yes, then so there is no problem. So the point is, it is on the lighter side. Don't follow this approach for problem solving. This is the typical tendency what I have seen in industries on solving the problem. People are not the problem. Processes are the issues. Focus on to that and try to solve it. Teach your people, coach your people to identify and solve problems. Very, very important and very, very crucial in those tough times so that when the normalcy comes, we are there to take a quantum jump. Now, driving factor in this tough time, we all know customer service, quality, customer perception. I'll say not customer satisfaction, customer perception. How does it thinks about you? You might be excellent in terms of your rating, but your customer perception could be entirely different. Engagement of your teams, supplier-driven value, lead times, very important. Order to cash cycle time, free cash, cost. They are all driving factors on those tough times. Prioritize it, link it to your business, and then see which are the most important thing on which you have to work right now onto all those areas. And with that, what results we are expecting? We are expecting a result of product leadership, operational excellence, which in terms of best total cost, best product, and best total solution. And I say customer intimacy. Customer intimacy doesn't mean that I'll supply a good product to the customer. I'm supplying a product which is value adding to the customer. Best total solution for the customer. Think from that perspective. It is the right time to do it. It is the most appropriate time to drive thinking in these things so that when the normalcy comes up, we are there. Now, there are two things, what you say. So in the process of transformation, there are two aspects. The efforts which are putting up for changing or bringing the transformation, and then their business results. So strike a balance. Too much of efforts in terms of building up a change with too few business results doesn't make sense. But if you're getting very quick business results without doing the transformation, that means the results are not going to sustain because the process has yet not changed. So strike a balance between the transformation process and the business results. So ultimately, the aim is we need to improve the economic profit and customer satisfaction both. It should be a win-win situation for both of us. How we can do that? So from an MSME point of view, just to give an example, there are 4 or 5 areas where we can think of. And typically, if you look into, I'll say, sales and general administration, product engineering, manufacturing engineering, and supply chain, purchasing, quality, and manufacturing organization. Now, typically, what we end up in doing is we end up in driving improvement in silos. Like you will do a wonderful job in a manufacturing point of view without having its impact getting realized from the supply chain point of view. Don't do that. Think from a program management point of view and drive it across the value chain, including sales, finance, IT, HR, marketing, product engineering, lead time for development, manufacturing engineering, supply chain, purchasing. Have program managers, develop coaches so that who can drive these strategic projects for you so that it can give you a leverage in terms of long term. How you can do that? Just to give an example, let's say from a sales point of view, right? What we're expecting? We are expecting to articulate customer value and define terms and conditions. So what are our goals? We need to have defined customer lead times. If we don't have defined earlier, the right time to define it now. Establish firm order periods, define cancellation policies with your customers, establish delivery frequency. From a product engineering point of view, what we can do? Focus on your high value products. See how you can cut down your internal development or the external development lead time. And typically, when we talk of development, and it's my experience which says that we always blame that the external side is very, very high. But typically, if you look into experience says it's 60% more of an internal issues in terms of product development. Focus on to that. Best time to solve it. Design for manufacturability. Standardize the components. Use common components. Deproliferate your raw materials and components. Focus on single piece flow. In this low capacity situation, when we are running with 45-50% of the capacities, following up a lean model, following up quick changeovers, following up single piece flow becomes very, very easy in situation, and it can become a very good practice platform going across in the future. Develop flexible processes. Develop high investment frequencies. From manufacturing point of view, ensure right part, right time, and right quality, right quantity. Improve resource utilization, workplace organization, efficient utilization of 4Ms, and so on and so forth. And from a supply chain point of view, focus on total buying cost, not on total purchasing cost. Define raw material strategy, define established material flow, define your flow path, work on your inventory turns, leverage on your inventory as of now. Define your scheduling strategy with your suppliers. So these are the things what we can do. Don't work in isolation. Work cross-functionally. That's the reason you see that these arrows are going back and forth. Feedback with different functions. Take feedback and then work together in coherence, not in isolation. So how you can do that? There are one model which we typically follow and which we typically recommend to be done on this cases. First is the operating model. That is a plan for how we'll execute. So it includes customer demand profile, alignment of signals, the network strategy, including our distribution network, the manufacturing operation strategy, scheduling strategy, what to be made to the order, what to be made to the schedule, and what to be made to the forecast, finished goods strategy, raw material strategy, and promising strategy. From operating system point of view, focus on health and safety, focus on overall quality, focus on product and process development, focus on process stability and reliability, focus on lean, and focus on business process execution, and then develop connections to control it. So business processes which can talk back and forth to see what you're doing, is it giving results or not. Data integrity, internal plant connectivity, external connectivity, SIOPs, and management reviews. So typically three things: the plan for which we'll execute, manufacturing process to execute the plan, and the information flow. Map them together and execute it. So foundation is value thinking, core principles, and Kaizen philosophy. I think I'm running a bit over time, but just to give you quick examples. So there are 4 Ps.
Mr. Dibendra, if you can please wind up. We have questions lined up.
I'm just wrapping up. So 4 Ps includes philosophy, process, people, and problem solving. So the last but not the least, I'll try to say, don't get lost into the jargons. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Align it with your business, execute it, and it is the best time to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Dibendra, for sharing your thoughts and best practices adopted at your plant. So now we are heading towards the question and answers now. So first question is to Mr. Pankaj from Mr. Venkat Swami. He wants to know that if the organization does the COVID-19 test for each worker and only then issue work permits to them.
Yeah, Mr. Venkat, good afternoon. At present, we are not doing COVID-19 test for all the associates, but we are keeping a very good tracking of their health through a specially designed app, where on daily basis we are monitoring that what is the health of their family and what is the health of our employees, and if is there any infection around that employee, those kind of things we are closely monitoring.
Just to add, maybe if I can add to it, Shruti, the basic thing what we're trying to do over here is, there is no need to do a check of all the employees for COVID-19. The Arogya Setu app and the self-declaration is sufficient to begin with.
And I would like to add on to
Arogya
that.
Setu app takes care of self-declaration.
Correct. I would like to add here also, Venkat, that let us not jump into and get all paranoid about it and get all testing being done. There are certain indications, certain symptoms which the ICMR and other organizations said, unless and until you're showing those symptoms, you should not just go and get yourself checked. So what Pankaj's organization is doing and what Dibendra is saying, they're absolutely right. Don't get panicky. If there are symptoms, accordingly deal with it. There's a certain protocol attached to it. So no need to get everyone tested. How will you test them every day? Will you test them every 3 days? How do you do it? So symptoms are the first thing that you need to notice. If you are seeing that those kind of symptoms are there, isolate and then get the right medical treatment. That's the best way to go. So I think Pankaj and Dibendra are absolutely right on this. Thank you.
If you permit, I would like to share one more example. Just last week, last week, what happened that one of our associate, he lives with another associate of different company. He came from Delhi and somehow he was required to test for COVID-19. The moment this information came to our system, so we asked our associate, and if you remember my presentation, we have a tracing system within our factory that how many people has came into contact with our associate. So roughly 7 associate and that. So total 8 associate, immediately we ask them to rest, and and associate who have come with the positive COVID-19, and we get him tested through the government agency. And when his report was confirmed that he is negative, then we started calling all these 8 people to the plant. So till then, for 5 to 6 days, they were in quarantine. This is the how we are managing our present scenario of this infection.
Okay, so the next question is for Dr. Raj. S. Navneethan from Finexel wants to know that as addressing all the 15 elements is will take time. So among which among these is priority?
All are priority, Navneethanji. All are priority. You cannot say that let me address only the hygiene aspect first because that is very important. No, thermal screening is equally important. In fact, that is the first bridge that you need to cross when you enter into any workplace. So all are important, and believe me, on paper it may sound very overwhelming. That इतने सारा पैरामीटर्स है कैसे करूं? पंकज जी ने दिखाया कि हम ये सारा प्रोसेस करते हैं. दीपेन जी ने. It might sound overwhelming in a presentation or on theory, but when you start practicing, it is just a matter of a practice that when you are washing your clothes, you dry them, you iron them, and then wear. On paper, the process looks huge, but when you start practicing, it becomes a part of your daily lifestyle. All 15 elements are required, as has been displayed in Parekh ji's and Tandon ji's presentation. I'm very happy to see that most of the requirements mentioned in the WASH scheme. I'm happy that I'm thinking like you guys while making this model, that all these aspects have been taken in. So all are important. And I urge you to download this model from the website, go through it, read it, and you will understand that it is no rocket science, it is just common sense.
So next question, is the WASH assessment mandatory for industry?
It is not mandatory, and we would not like it to be mandatory. This is coming from within. These are the, this is an assessment of preparedness, how well prepared you are. So, however, our controlling ministry, the DPIIT, has issued a letter regarding WASH to all ministries to go through the protocol and follow the protocol as laid down by QCI regarding WASH. So, however, without making it mandatory, it has advised that we should follow all the protocol related to WASH. However, it is not mandatory. You can just apply it on your own. Everything is transparent. Download the guideline, download the checklist, attempt a self-assessment yourself, and you will see that you can do it yourself. In case you need assistance, then get assessed.
Okay, thank you, sir. The next question is for Dipendra, sir. So since reopening was there any new case or symptoms of COVID-19?
No, as of now, no. We are taking a lot many precautions. Just to give an example, like the guys are residing local by. So if we are, hearing, because the local newspapers and the groups are the WhatsApp groups and that kind of stuff, we keep on getting information that if the guys is residing to a specific society and the society has got a case of COVID-19 reported. So typically we say that let this guy be into a quarantine zone, let him be there for about 14 days, and after that he can report to the work. So the local newspapers, the guidelines which are coming from the government offices, if anything is being put into a quarantine area, we get to know, and then we are acting accordingly in a proactive manner to avoid cases, approaching to the plant. And let me tell you, the communication channel, which is now prevailing in terms of the newspapers and in terms of WhatsApp groups and the kind of, they are, working very efficiently. You get to know immediately one case and you get to know in which society it has happened. Now you got a complete bank of your employees who is staying where, and then you can take a call, proactively.
Okay, thank you, sir. Pankaj sir, strengthening immunity to workers and other employees is must. What action plan from your organization to increase immunity?
Yeah, I think you have touched a very good question and not covered in my presentation. But we have our medical health and medical center inside our factory. So what we have done that one thing is we have prescribed certain like vitamin C and some vitamins to our all associates to take. And also what is happening that during our tea times, roughly 3 weeks back, we have started preparing rather than simple tea, you can say tea with a lot of herbs. So those kind of things we have started. And third, we are educating people that at home, basically when you are in family, so minimum person should go out of your home for the daily activities, and so that only one person should interact with the masses, and minimum infection should enter your house. So these kind of education and these three things we are doing in HMSI for our associate.
On a lighter note, Pankajji, on a lighter note, can I request you to add this also, that not to be social media doctors and follow whatever is being spread around on WhatsApps and the social media. There's so many doctors and experts available. Maybe if you can request your employees to listen to you rather than listen to a lot of stuff which is being said. So I get a lot of messages about various medicines, also various prescriptions, also are short cure to corona, etc. I think most of our employees which are there in the semi-skilled and unskilled categories, they probably need to be advised to be very wary of such things. So that was on a lighter note, but a seriously lighter note.
Okay, Dr. Raj, WASH standard, is there any certified training program for implementation of the requirements or lead implementer course for the consultants?
Okay, so there is no such program for consultants per se for consultancy. However, we have informatory or paid programs with a very small fee of 900 rupees. It's a 3-hour program on understanding each and every 15 key elements of WASH. In case you're an organization and you want to understand how each and every 15 elements are integrated and woven into the entire standard, and how exactly you should go about implementing, then we have a 3-hour program with a very nominal fee of 900 rupees. Unfortunately, till 11th of July, all the programs are full. In case there is any participant who wishes to participate, can go on to the website and check for the programs left in July. In case there is more demand, we will extend it up to August.
Okay, thank you, sir. Dipendra sir, did you made some changes in plant machine layout after COVID-19?
Yes, we did some changes in our assembly layout because what was happening is the guys who were working at the assembly line, the distances was maybe close to about 3 feet. The requirement says that we need to be at least about 6 feet. So we have changed assembly layout. We have put up, the layout changes to ensure that the social distancings are being followed. And for those areas where the machines are heavy and there is, because of the limitation of the layout that you can't change, the distance, we have provided people along with the mask a face shield so that, they cannot come into contact with each other into a different way.
Okay, sir, how can you expedite supplier development process in view of disruption of supply from China and also to have maximum value chain gain?
Okay, Now, as I was telling you, it is the best time to look into is that even our Prime Minister is also calling for vocal for local, right? So you need to see who are your suppliers which can give you a leverage to get a product locally rather than buying it from China. So it is the best time to look into the product strategy as well. See what are the things which are available locally. Okay, you can work with the supplier to leverage on the cost side. That's a work which needs to be done jointly with you and your suppliers together. But then it is a high time to see that what is there on which we are depending upon China. Okay, is there any possibility that can be developed locally? So if yes, then why not explore it?
Okay. Pankaj sir, how do you really optimize number of check sheets if there are many? You raise the possibility of more handling, which can be a source of probably infection.
Sorry, can you repeat your question, please?
How do you really optimize number of check sheets if there are many?
Number of check sheet, see, we only ensure that one checkpoint should be covered once only. It should not be in multiple check sheet. That is the main thing. And also what happens that we have 4 plants. So whatever check sheets we make, we try to follow similar check sheet across all the plants, all the processes. So it assures us that there is no duplication of checkpoints, and also it is very quick and comprehensive to check the points. So basically, horizontal deployment within the organization is very strong, and there is very less duplicacy of documents.
Sir, how yeah, please sir, go ahead.
Sorry, just to add to Pankaj, what I'm trying to say across is these checklists are generic in nature and specific to an area. So typically, if you look into 80 or to 85% points will be common. Only 10 to 15% of the point which are specific to that area might change. So there is no need to worry from the checklist point of view. The 85 and 90% of work will be common.
Okay. Raj sir, what is the cost for wash assessment?
See, the QCI has purposely kept the cost very low. The applicant has to directly approach the assessment agency, and the assessment agencies are directed not to charge a high amount, and hence there is a ceiling of 10,500 rupees per assessment per man.
Okay. So I would like.
I have a question. I'm interrupting you. I have a question with both Pankaj ji and Dipen ji here. I'm interested to know that considering the demand for production and also the availability of manpower that we may have we actually gone into employee rotation? Are we looking at Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday only? Or I'm looking at 30% staff coming in, considering the demand is low and the production is not required at the moment? Have we actually thought about much hyped about 1/3 employees and rotation of employees? Have we been able to do that, sir?
Can I take it?
Yes,
so
sir.
what we are doing over here is, say, take an example. I got a set of 100 employees. So at any point of time, I am supposed to call only 30, or let's say 40, depending on the permission granted to me. So what I will do, I'll have a roster saying that 30 people will come for 3 days, 30 for 3 days, 30 for 3 days, which also gives me a kind of flexibility to develop multi-skilling. So when I'm there up in the full production mode, I got a fully flexible workforce which I can leverage when I'm going to take a quantum jump. I hope that answers your question, sir.
This is very good. So you have actually leveraged this as an opportunity, and
absolutely,
you have trained, retrained, and reskilled your people. That's fantastic. Hanji Tandon, sir.
Yeah, actually, in case of HMSI, what is happening that the line associates, which actually are to be directly put for the producing of the vehicle, so they are called basically as per the ramp up only. And rest of people, because we are just calling from their native places, so they are joining to the area where they were from where they are daily commuting. So it is some sort of situation that we are ramp up and the joining to the local station means that ratio is somehow matched. And coming to the management staff, as Mr. Dipendra has shared that because now everybody has come to the base location. But initially, when we were doing the COVID-19 preparation, so volume of work was very high. So we initially called everyone, but now because we have reached to a certain level of production and it is quite stabilized. So now we have also starting calling into the rotation that 40% people are coming for the 3 days, then next 40. So that rotation we have started. So it is giving equal opportunity for everyone to work at shop floor as well as everybody can work from home. So we are making that balance for management staff.
So, as a rebound question here, Pankaj, and also to you, Parik sir, I've also been working from home, and only if the government calls me, I go to the ministry for a meeting where they want me in person. Otherwise, most of the meetings are like this, and I can see that आप भी सर घर पे हैं, आप भी घर पे हैं. I can see मैं भी घर पे हूँ. You're working from home. I just need a guidance from you. I need help. I need help because I have never done work from home before, and here I'm talking about the agenda of this particular webinar also about reopening and etc. A lot of things I've been doing from work from home. Sir, I have never done work from home. Hence, I do not have the discipline. So what is happening is my weekdays are merging with the weekends. My days are merging with the nights. My laptop is open. I start my work, my web meetings, everything at 8 in the morning. And before I realize it is 2 in the morning. And when the Saturday, Sunday has gone, I have no idea. And what is happening is this is impacting my own personal life and also my professional life. I need some guidance from you for people like me who are idiots, who are probably working more from work from home. What kind of discipline and what kind of how would you suggest to improve people like?
Dr. Raj, on the lighter note, I am on your side only. It's still learning to this new normal situation.
Absolutely, we desperately need a lot of discipline here. I have seen my brother-in-law, who is a US citizen. I have seen him working, opens his laptop, he sits there, he works, and whatever in between he does has his small little breaks, lunch, tea, etc. 5:30 is off. Saturday, Sunday he's off.
So let me tell you, 25 years, 25 years, we all have been the office guys, right? So working from home is again new normal, which will take a bit of time even for us to get, stabilized.
So what is your two pence of advice here, sir, for people like me or now like you said? Maybe Pankaj ji can help. He looks to be more disciplined in the three of us. Pankaj ji, can you advise both Parik ji and me on how to have more discipline from work from home in the new normal while we're reopening businesses? A lot of people are working from home. Obviously, there are certain businesses like hotels or factory workers which I can't take that work home, like hospital. But however, some people like us can work from home, and people like us are not actually having the right discipline when we have now reopened to ensure that we are able to balance personal and professional life. Any advice, Pankaj ji, on
this? Sorry, Dr. Raj, voice was breaking, but what?
I got the question.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think gist of your question, what could I understand is that first of all, I think working from home, you need, I think, one scheduling of your complete day so that you don't be too much of laziness should not surround you. That is very important. And early morning starting with some within house, some with warm up exercise or something like that. it makes your day really very good. And but what I found is that in case of manufacturing industry, especially because shop floor shop floor touch is being missed because I can understand from shop floor, just by be present on shop floor, it gives a lot of direction to your daily work. So that is the thing which is I think we miss at while working at shop floor, because you have to take a lot of decision by seeing the actual situation. So that situation is missing. So that is the only thing I feel.
Parekh, you have any advice for me?
Pankaj, I'm
Or
sure.
people like me?
No, I'm sure. No, I'm saying I'm sure. Maybe Japanese will come up with a new term for Gemba, for as you know, Gensu Gemba.
Yes. Gemba
Now
approach
it is
is
now
very
now
correct.
it is not go to the place and see. I'm sure Japanese will come up with a new approach to Gemba, even for this as well.
Now it has
I'm sure about
embedded
it.
into our blood. It means if Gemba is missing, we find
course.
executing our job difficulty in executing our routine job.
So the same thing I'm saying. You know, Japanese will come up even for a new way of doing Gemba in such situations. Let's wait for it.
Yes, I'm
Maybe
sure
it
they
could
will.
be,
You're
maybe
absolutely
it could be a Gemba looking. Maybe it could be a Gemba looking at a video, looking at a videography, and then taking decisions. Right? I don't know.
Yes, very much possible.
This
The role of
absolutely
CCTV may have-
new norms which are going to set up now.
Yes, I totally agree. So
So-
I
so
can just
I-
give one learning. Yeah. Yes, please
Yeah,
go ahead, Shruti.
I would like
Back
to
on-
say
back-
that
back to
some
you.
of the queries will be sent to you offline, so please answer those queries. And if all the speaker permits me, I would like to conclude our session.
Yes, please. Go ahead, Shruti.
Yeah. So I would like to extend my sincere thanks to all our speakers for being with us today and sharing their thoughts and learnings in a very effective way, which in fact is the need of the hour. We request participants to kindly provide their feedback as well with the suggestions on your topics of interest. We will now end this session. Once again, thank you all. Goodbye and stay safe.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Parekh. Thank you, Tandon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dipender ji. Thank you, Dr. Raj. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Pankaj.
Thank
Thank you
you
so much.
all.